All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are battling for a wild card spot. I am not using the other B word right now, but they're fucking battling, which is the only thing we wanted, boys. Just fucking don't shit down your leg as a starter. Don't piss down your leg as a bullpen member. And the offense, like, wake up when it fucking matters. And you know what?
Bro,
we're doing it right now, boys. We're back.
We're back. We're back. You listen. You can say all you want, but this team has shown enough good, more bad, but enough good that for the second half, place your bets. Which team is it going to be? And I don't think it's that far-fetched to say that the bad team was underachieving more so than the good team is overachieving. You know what I mean? I think the good team is actually more indicative of their history of players, the current status of players last season. I think that the bad starting pitching has been more of a surprise than you would say the good starting pitching has been. So who's to say that it's not going to be Senga going 8 innings with 12 strikeouts as opposed to the Senga who, shits the bed? Who's to say that Max, Max is probably settled in as what he's going to be? And who's to say that Verlander doesn't start to just shove consistently? Who's to say that we don't keep scoring fucking 7 and 8 runs against the best teams in baseball? If you want to tell me they're not going to make it, you're not going out on a limb, right? But it is just as much of a prediction as me thinking that they can be good. It's just a matter of place your bets, and one side will be right and one side will be wrong. But I don't think either side is that far-fetched at this point because they've done it. I mean, you're on the verge of sweeping. What are the Diamondbacks have? Probably fucking 50 wins, like 25 games above 500. Like you're talking about beating a good team. You're talking about on the verge of beating the Astros and the Braves. It's all right there. You got Alvarez, who's the only guy progressing and just becoming a full-blown fucking monster, doing it in clutch. Everything he wasn't in the beginning, overwhelmed in big spots, not coming through in the clutch, completely flip-flopped. That last win was we had an oh wow from Gary. We were down to our final strike, and we fucking got. And not only did we tie the game, not only does Beatty get on, but we drive him in. We get that win. That is the game right there that happened probably a dozen times last year that we've had one time this year. The tide is turning. It's turning. It's coming at a good time where it's you get a little bit of a break, so you don't feel like you have to just keep this up. Just go into the break strong, come out of the break strong, and you went from 10 games to 6.5 like that. And I'll let everybody remember last year when it was the other way around and the Mets had a 10-game lead and it turned into 6. It was the end of the fucking world, and look how that ended up. So don't tell me it can't happen when you shave 4 games in a fucking week. And all I'm gonna say is, I know what we did differently. I know what happened here on this show before everything turned around. Maybe the guys on this panel right here deserve a little credit. That's all I'm going to say.
That's a fair point. Kevin is he's huffing the hopium right now, and I absolutely fucking love hearing it. Phil, how are we feeling, pal?
I'm feeling good. It felt great waking up this morning with a 4-game winning streak. I was ready for a loss last night, but it was a win. And I even called the home run last night because I said, when the first 2 outs get made on 5 pitches, hopefully Alvarez can park one over center field.
Yeah.
Well, it was 4 pitches. They parked it over right field, so I was close enough.
And I know we always think of it from our angle, to lose a game where it was a foul tip that didn't get caught, and then he goes to home run, and then they rally. Absolutely crushing. And I'm not fucking crying for the 7 Diamondbacks fans in the world as they are 13 games above 500, but that is a fucking tough way to go out. And Kev, you said it back in the day. It was after that West Coast trip is when everything starts clicking. If they can get a win tonight and then, win some in San Diego. And hey, remember, the old us, this podcast, we'd be like, oh man, this is such bullshit. This All-Star break's coming just as we're getting hot. I don't care. Just win fucking games. I don't care if they come now. I don't care if they come after the break. I don't care if they come in a fucking blue shoe. It's like fucking Dr. Seuss. Just give me fucking wins right now.
I actually think the break this is a spin zone, I'm sure. But if it was just you got to go do this for 80 more games, it feels a little overwhelming. But it's just do it for this short period of time, shave some games off, leapfrog a couple guys, and then let's go have some fun, relax, get back to your families. All you fucking procreating baseball players can go have fun with your infants, and then get back to work. I actually think that's it's a good way to kind of break it up.
And there's no Mets in the All-Star game. They're actually going to get to rest. And the only hitter that comes out of the home run derby hitting more home runs is Pete Alonso. Because he's got to get his hand right. He's going to go in there. He's going to groove some fastballs to hit some dingers because that's all he does. And if he gets right, I was saying it yesterday in the recap before the game, they bait the hook just enough. Anyone to try to explain to a non-Mets fan, why do you continually watch this team? And this is it. Because it's like, I'm going to watch them no matter what. So they better be playing fucking meaningful games in September. And it seems like if they could go on the polar opposite of June, then we're right back where we started.
Well, and that's really the point to me is like, it felt, I don't know why this season feels so weird. I don't know how we have as many wins as we do because it feels like we lost every single game for 2 straight months. But when you look at it, it was it's the June swoon. We had a fucking horrendous month. But baseball is the stupidest goddamn sport in the world. It's 6 months long. So you throw one out. If you have a good one, like it comes out in the wash. It's just so preposterously long that if you start winning 2 out of 3 and you do that over the course of, another 70 games, you get right back in it. And at this point with the double wild card, meaningful games in September was always kind of a shitty benchmark, a shitty thing to shoot for. But at this point, you almost guarantee it. You look at what the Phillies were last year, even in September when they were shitting the bed and they still made it. It's just, if you're, like you said, if you're not a Mets fan and you're not watching, you look at how the way the season has played out and it's like same old Mets. But there were enough flashes in my mind of like, we've seen Verlander be Verlander. We've seen Pete fucking hit 25 home runs with an injury. We're watching Alvarez become a superstar before our eyes. We've seen the kids have hot streaks and cold streaks. Lindor is always going to be that way. Like, there's just enough there that it could happen. And the way things went that June, I thought we were on a pace of like that the could. Forget about should or would. Like the could was not even a possibility. Mm-hmm. And now I'm feeling it a little bit. You win a little in San Francisco. You win in Arizona. You like beat up on the teams you need to. And really, all I'm asking for is that this month or this half, a couple of those games that we had against the Astros and the Braves, instead of losing, they go our way. And like that changes fucking everything. You just need, baseball, it goes this way and you're fucked. Goes this way and you're a 100-win team. You just needed to lean a little bit in the positive direction for, 3 months.
The ironic part is in past years, say the West Coast is where you usually fall off. This team has played their best baseball on the West Coast.
And when they are good, it's always the West Coast where they fucking seem to find their mojo. So
like 2 out of 3 versus Oakland, 2 out of 3 versus the Dodgers, split in San Fran. Now 2 out of 3 versus Arizona, and you had the Padres this weekend. So you may sweep the series. I don't know.
I mean the Padres, you might sweep the Diamondbacks, and you roll into the Padres, who have had just as much of a mess first half of the season as we have. I don't know, man. Like it's just for anybody who jumped off, I understand why you did. But also, this is the reason why, it's just so long. It's so stupid. But it's, when you can have a good week and the teams you need to have a bad week, it changes everything.
And let me just say this. I don't want to be the guy splashing the cold water, but I'm going to do a little bit of it. We know this team isn't going to make this easy on us. If they actually just shit the bed, get swept by the Diamondbacks, lose 2 or 3 against the Padres, go into the break, and then we're basically talking about selling, that would almost be easy on our mental states. What they're going to do is like they do in every fucking game. It's like when it's 4-1, they don't just, go 1, 2, 3 in the ninth. They load the bases, no outs, and then they fucking hit into a double play you didn't even know was possible. And then like Pete's at the plate, and then he strikes out, on a fucking full count. This team is going to string us along because that's what and hey, there's times it comes through. I mean, all those we have had our runs. But I'm also like, you motherfuckers, you're doing it all over again. You're putting me on the fucking, like you said, you're putting me on the hook, and I'm just waiting for the fish to fucking eat my ass.
I feel like if the worst thing about this, if they go on a little run, is going to be the trade deadline, because then you're in no man's land of like, are we buyers or are we sellers? And that probably means they should just stay put. I don't think they need to sell by any means. I don't think they need to mortgage the future by any means either, though. Like, just see if you can recapture last year's magic for the second half and roll the dice. I don't think it needs to be.
If they're like 3.5 games out on like July 30th, they'll make like one minor trade where they trade some 18-year-old you never heard of that people think is a future Hall of Famer instantly.
Of course. Yeah. We'll have Pete Crow Armstrong syndrome all over again. But I just, there's no need to go full rebuild mode like Frank the Tank was looking for. At least not yet. If there's a couple seasons of this and the old guys really just completely fall off, then you start talking about that. But when you're only a matter of months removed from 100 wins and then you start to see flashes, there's no reason to go all one way or the other. It's like
it's the Luke Langmore meme. It's like, if you want to stop me, you better fucking kill me. And if we're not dead in the water, there's no way Uncle Stevie is going to turn around and be like, I just spent fucking $380 million. Let's blow this thing up. Like, it's just not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. And I think we've seen, the Braves had such a crazy deadline when they win the title, and we've fallen in love with the idea of this like magical fix it all trade deadline deal. When those are so few and far between. I feel like we have the Cespedes and they have the Soler but for the most part, it's like there's no need to put all your eggs in the trade deadline basket. It's more about the guys that you already have. I hate to be like a Wilpons and be like, that's our trade deadline acquisition. But if the guys you have start to fucking pitch like they should, that's what's going to get you there. Not, the one selling piece from a shitty team with injuries or something like that.
It's guys like Kodai Senga going out, pitching on the road, saying, I want the ball in the eighth, and doing shit like that and going out and delivering. That's what we need.
If he didn't have a few bad starts, he would have been in all-star contention, because his numbers are very good in terms of the digging deep into the inside baseball type of shit. Like, he's got the top average against them, and he's got the top three whiff rate. Like, when the ghost fork is working, he's fucking good.
Yeah, that ghost fork is nasty.
So you brought up the numbers. I didn't want to. Okay. Do I? Are we? Can I put?
No, yeah. Be real. Let's go.
Okay. Just because you said the numbers, and I had this, I was gonna send it to the group. I never did, but I have to put it up on the pod. The people watching on YouTube can see. The man pitching tonight. This is his baseball savant page. Cookie Carrasco.
Oh my God.
Is a fucking desert of blue. I mean, it's like the mountains. It's Coors Light, basically. I'm looking at Coors Light with Cookie Carrasco's on the mound, his baseball savant page. I mean, it's crazy that this guy still is in the rotation, and I'm have to believe Quintana Mania is basically the end of him. Whenever Quintana comes back, and then if something happens to him, Cookie's DFA'd, then we'll just start the McGill and AAA, AA merry-go-round begins. This is offensive. I was offended when I saw this.
I mean, these are at zero. They're at very fucking. Oh my. Bro, I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was this.
I mean, there was a 3-start stretch where he gave up 6 in 10 innings. He gave up a run in 6 of them. And a reliever gets DFA'd for that.
There were also times where he had a couple good games too, and that's baked into these numbers. You must have been so goddamn bad. I mean, it's like he gave up 4 runs the last start. Well, he pitched 2 innings, so it's right.
It would have been 1,000 if he left him in. He is the number one offender of my idea to have these. You got to pitch 6 innings. If there was one guy I want to burn the most, it would be Cookie, where you just got to sit out there and put up 18 runs because his numbers are terrible, and he still had a manager protecting him by pulling him out after 2 innings every fucking night.
And then the entire team goes into the shitter because the bullpen is then fighting.
Right, then it's just the dominoes. You could really argue that it's guys like him and the underperformance of Verlander and Scherzer that just fucks the whole thing. The whole thing goes to shit because your bullpen's either overworked or you have scrubs blowing games, and then you have an offense that's pressing and playing from behind, or feels like even when we score 7 or 8 runs, we can't win, and the whole thing goes to shit. And if we can just stop the bleeding a little bit, whether it's Quintana, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid when I'm like, maybe Quintana's gonna be the one, but I'm not even asking him to be the one. I'm asking him to can you be our 4? Can you just be a 4 starter? And we need Senga to just be a 3, and then we need 2 Hall of Famers to figure out just how to balance the top of the rotation. That's not that crazy, but it seems like goddamn, they made it feel impossible in that first half.
Yep. So today's Cookie Carrasco update was brought to you by Coors Light. The only thing bluer and colder than his numbers are Coors Light. Everyone thinks about the day they'll eventually get to retire and enjoy all the freedom that comes with it. I guarantee Cookie Carrasco thinks of that every fifth day. He's on the mound thinking, I should probably retire soon. But if you're not able to retire like Cookie, who has probably made millions of dollars and ski mask millions of Steve Cohen's dollars in particular, get yourself an ice cold Coors Light. Take advantage of that free will and spend the summer chilling like a retiree and pair those moments with Coors Light. The beer that's made to chill. Cookie Carrasco's the pitcher that's made to chill. It's the mounds on the bottle and cans turn blue when your beer is cold, so you know it's time to grab another. So this summer, chill like you're retired with Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And while we're talking about Coors Light and drinking some beers responsibly, I got to say, boys, this whole magical run began. Me, young Phillip, we had Clemmer out with us, Barstool at the ballpark. Yep. We got it going. And this is when it all started there. And in about a week, next Saturday, the 15th, we'll be going back for another Barstool at the ballpark, already sold out. We'll be having a tailgate before the game. So people have been asking for tailgates at Barstool at the ballpark since
2015.
Yeah, 2015. Because it's it's almost like we only have one bar in the entire 2-mile vicinity of the stadium to go before games, and everyone just wants to meet up. So the people at Coors Light are going to bring the tailgate to you. We're going to set up in the parking lot, kind of by the subway and the Long Island Railroad area. We'll have a map on socials, Instagram, Twitter, Threads. Follow us on Threads now. We're on Threads, and we got to believe on Threads. And we're going to have a tailgate there probably about 3 hours before the game. We got the tent, have some music going, we'll have some beers, we'll have some cornhole, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Tailgating Barstool at the ballpark is like when you were in college and you would pregame an open bar. It's just it is going to be a disaster by the 7th inning. I hope that we're either up by 1,000 or down by 1,000, because if that's going to be a close baseball game, there might be some deaths that day. I mean, they are going to be, holy shit, the tensions will be high. But Barstool at the ballpark, man, I said it started in 2015, which is hard to imagine, but we're pushing almost a decade of Barstool at the ballpark. And this season, when the team is good, it's, an auto sellout, and there's 400, 300, 500 people there every time. It's the best thing that we do at Barstool that gets no recognition. It's the best deal in all of sports. I've been saying that for a decade, and that's holding true. The price has basically stayed the same despite the fact that, it's 10 years later. And but during some of the down years, it's a little bit dicey. This season, which has been one of the most painful of all, has been nothing but sellouts, and sellouts before, weeks in advance. So I don't know whether it's the party atmosphere, the free booze, the games, the team, the camaraderie. I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, even if the team isn't playing well, the events sell well. And as much as I fucking hate Mets fans on the internet and on social media, it's the exact polar opposite in person. Those events are always good people, funny, drunk, it's not like nerd baseball shit, but it's you get enough baseball and enough partying. It's the perfect blend. So even during the dark days, it's still a sellout. So you can't get tickets to the next one, but the final two, there are still tickets available.
Yeah, and the nerdiest thing you'll see at those things is Clemmer filling out his own score sheet.
Fucking scoring, which is, I like a little bit of that. I need a little bit of a nerd. Well, I have a guy dressed as a polar bear, doing a shoey, while Clemmer's is that a fly out or a...
Is that F5?
Yeah.
So come over to the tailgate. Even if you're not at Barstool ballpark, come on over. We'll just set it up. This is another way for us to, go out and shout out to Coors Light. So it like you said, Kev, it's just water on top of water. It's taking a shower before you're going for a swim. It's what are we doing?
For real.
God bless all you maniacs out there. So
the map, just so people can have some sort of visual representation. If you're walking down that subway boardwalk, it's before you cross the street over to go to the ballpark. So it's
that's the one
away.
That's it's funny. I feel like everybody, just depending on where your tickets may have been growing up or where you went to the park. To me, that's the park. If you just had the parking lot, it would be that lot. That's the one.
Yep, for sure. And the other thing, this winning streak started. I don't know if you guys knew this. YouTube TV subscriber right here, Clem. They took my SNY away on July 1st. The New York Mets have not lost since July 1st. I think I'm just going to have to listen to Howie. And,
is that what have you been doing that? Just been listening?
One game was on ESPN. I watched that I watched the K-Rob broadcast too to really like torture myself. I was away for a couple days in Pennsylvania, so I was like following it through the app. And then I was listening to last night's game on the radio. So, and by the way, YouTube delay, a little bit of a delay. The radio, I went on the Score app at one point to see the count because I forgot what the count was, and I couldn't see it because I'm listening to the fucking radio like an asshole, and it was like 3 batters behind. I think.
Wait, were you listening to the radio on the internet?
On Odyssey, yeah.
So I mean, the regular audio is if you're like on an actual radio, like in the 1800s, there's like nothing. But yeah, the internet delay is for real.
I remember I bought a radio, I think, when I was still living in Astoria. This is like 15 years ago, just because I wanted to listen to Howie, and you go outside, and it probably wasn't easy to get like internet radio back then, right?
Yep.
And it was hard to find I think I went to Radio Shack, literally.
Dude, I remember I did the same thing when I was first living in Hoboken. I had a backyard. I got like a gray with the pull-up.
That's the one I got. Yes, that's the one.
Yes.
Oh, a couple olds just sharing their fucking black and white stories here. So I have to find this thing because like I don't even know if I could like get a new radio, but I don't know what else. At this point, I have to just listen to the radio for now on, right? The new guy, what's the new guy's name?
He's not great. I don't like him.
Keith Rad, I think is his name.
Yeah, I don't want to throw shade, but the tag team has always been good, dating back to when it was Keith and when it was Gary and Howie. But Keith, is he a Mets fan? Is he like a Mets, like a lifelong Mets fan? I don't know much about him. I just all other Mets broadcasters have got the excitement level down, where it's like the proper levels at the proper times and the proper like when it's supposed to be nervous, they make you feel nervous, and when it's supposed to be, and Keith just doesn't do that for me. But
I mean, Gary last night was like choking on the mic on the call.
I mean, there's so few and far between that you gotta, that I legitimately think there's a chance that Gary came last night. I think that Alvarez home run he maybe came, and that triple, the wow. I mean, that's when you know that's his O face.
He lost the pen too. Did you see he lost the pen when he threw it on the ground?
Yep.
All right. So I'm here. So Keith Rad here. I'm doing my research now on him. So I'm just going to lay it out there. I'm trying not to slander. We're going to try to keep this fair.
I hate to it, but it's just...
Okay. He went to Chaminade. That's the first thing.
There you go. I knew there was something wrong with him. I knew it.
I'm looking at the Mesmerized. They did an interview with him. He was the Brooklyn Cyclones announcer, which I mean, I feel like you got to pay your dues in the minors, work your way up. And I'm kind of just like skimming through this, and I'm like, fan, like maybe we can get a thing. He grew up in Long Island. I'm like, all right. And then Mesmerized goes, understanding you were a Yankees fan growing up. And I just have to say.
No. You know what? I fucking hate him. I can say that. He's terrible. He when they switch over every 3 innings, I'm like, I turn it off. I can't. Fuck him. Forget him. Done.
Am I going to just have to watch through the Score app now? Like, do I have to do this as a fan? Like, I have to
listen to Howie. Listen to Howie.
But he doesn't go on the road, though.
Oh, right.
And do I switch off? Like, when Howie takes the inning break and gets his big little thing, I have to then turn off and watch the Score.
See you later, pal. Go talk about the Yankees.
This season's highlighted, like, you would think that they would be stepping on each other's toes more often, but you don't realize it until it's actually happening now this season, where it's like someone's in a groove and the other guy will say something and it just like totally fucks up the guy who's doing the play-by-play, and he's like,
we'll
also that in a second.
I feel like they had their, Randazzo and Howie had their thing, and then you probably think he's the future. You don't anticipate getting plucked away. So this is kind of a plan B, C, D based on, the years of how it's all gone down. I don't need a Yankee fan. I don't need a Yankee fan in my, I don't want that in my foxhole. So
that's a casualty of Apple TV's broadcast, because they plucked Randazzo because it was so shitty.
Yeah.
And the Angels are like, well, this guy's pretty good.
This guy's the only one. Yeah.
Or you're hiding the prospect down in the minors that you don't tell anybody about. and then next thing you know, he goes off, and then
so this is really fuck you, Randazzo.
No,
fuck
but Randazzo was a Cubs fan.
You gotta get the bag.
Randazzo was a Cubs fan. I'll be honest, boys. Why the fuck can't we just hire Mets fans to do Mets games? Because it's worked out basically with every other guy that they've done.
Well, that's the X factor is because you got to still be good at the job. You got to be proficient at the job. But when you are and you're a Mets fan, it's fucking magic. So, it's too late for people like us. But if you're like young and into broadcasting and you're a Mets fan, fucking do your thing, man. Because you know that they probably do look at that now. Like, it's probably not like, oh, it doesn't matter who you root for. It's probably a big bonus to be a Mets fan if you can, as long as you're good at the job. I still maintain, man, every year we say we're going to do it, and we never really do. I think the technology is slowly getting there. I think there will come a day where we'll be able to do our own broadcasts, and there'll be a different type of broadcast. It won't be as, technically proficient as Gary and them, but you'll get your Mets fans doing broadcasts soon enough, and it'll be these four idiots yelling.
I mean, you can't tell me there's not like one guy at WFUV that could do it similar to this guy. That's like a diehard Mets fan that I mean, it just bleeds through, I think, into the broadcast and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's a combination of things to get a little inside baseball, literally. It's like, I remember when I was doing that, not that I ever had the talent to go to that level, but I remember looking around being like, they pay how much? Like, you have to make $0 for so long until a Howie or a Gary or somebody retires or, starts to reduce their workload. And in the meantime, you're like working for the Cyclones, making like $12,000 a year. And it's like, you could be the most, brilliant and talented guy. And you might just be like, I got to go get a real job because I need to like live a real life. So it's a combination of being the right fan, having like the itch, being able to live on that pay, not caring about that pay. A lot of shit goes into it. So
people talk about like, minor leaguers needing to work second jobs in the off season because of little pay. It's like, you are Brooklyn Cyclones announcer by day and Costco worker by night or something.
For real. Yeah. And so it really, that's why you really don't even understand how lucky it is to not have one, but two in Gary and Howie. Mm-hmm. And then you add in, the ex-players are different. But when you add that all in and you have like 2, 3, 4 great announcers that are rooting for your team, it's always been the best thing the Mets have to offer.
Yeah, we are truly blessed. That's what it comes down to. No matter how shitty this, even more so, how shitty this season has gone and all the other seasons have gone. And these guys still bring it. Like we say, there's times you watch SNY just to listen to Garrett, Keith, and Ron.
How much broadcast success, broadcast love are you willing to give up to have a winning product on the field every year? Now, I'm not saying like you're going to be a dynasty. I'm not even going to guarantee any sort of championships. But let's just say like you would be a year in and year out playoff team, but you've got to listen to like Michael Kay and just bums. You never get the joy of like Keith and Ron and all that. Would you sell it all for quality play?
You're asking me with us like 9 games below 500 or whatever, 6 games now.
Yeah.
Yes, I will sell my soul.
I will watch games on mute if it means we win games.
I asked that knowing the answer here, but I do think there are some like delusional fans out there that like are bigger fans of the broadcast than sometimes we thump our chests about the broadcast a little too much. Like it's like, hey guys, like they're the announcers, they're not the players. Let's calm down.
I guarantee if we make a poll, it's like, who would you rather have next season, Shohei Ohtani or Keith Hernandez in the booth? It may be like a 50-50 split, which is absurd.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Totally.
You heard that. Actually, we should bring that story up because I didn't even hear about it. I saw RDT blogged it. Did you hear, Keith, when they said, would you allow Ohtani to wear 17? He's like, don't ask me. And it's like,
they just retired his number. He's probably like, fuck that.
I'm Keith Hernandez. You know that's going through that. It's like, Keith, this guy is doing shit we've literally never seen before.
Never seen.
Babe Ruth did it in like a much different scale than this guy. So this guy's doing something, and he's like, no, 17 is fucking up in the rafters, boys.
He just had the best month of like baseball ever, right? He had like a 1,500 OPS.
Might be the best month of sports ever, Kevin. Sports.
Right. I mean,
also, number 16 probably means more to Ohtani because that's what he wore in the WBC.
So, yeah, that's true. There we go.
There we go.
we were giving away 16 like it was fucking nothing back in the day too. I remember we had straight bums wearing 16, even though we had like an immortal wearing that for years. So I that was just a great Keith story, simply unbelievable. I guess if you want to touch about the other thing about the Diamondback series is that Scherzer, I mean, he's just going to give up home runs. I guess we just have to limit that. It's like your dog's going to pee on the carpet because he's old. It's like Scherzer's going to give up home runs. That's basically the closest thing I can make.
It's just like if he can limit it to like 2 a game and have them be solo shots, I would really appreciate it. It is tough because it erases starts so fast, you know, because every 5th or 6th inning, in some cases 4th inning, you're going to get into trouble. And it used to be like you're a fucking gritty Hall of Fame veteran. You're going to dig down and get it done. And now, 2 on and 2 out becomes a 3-run home run. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter that you struck out, 9 or had a great first few innings. It's fucking, you're done. So it's just like no breaking news here that the home run is like king in baseball. So if you're prone to give them up, it just makes it very, very difficult.
He's also one of the worst starting pitchers in baseball when he has a lead.
The amount of give back innings he's had.
7th highest DRA with a lead, I'm pretty sure. So
that's tough. I mean, he just kind of is what he is. I don't necessarily think it's like, well, I don't know. Maybe it's rose-colored glasses in my mind. Maybe he is just flat out bad. But I'd still rather like a guy who has history that maybe every other, maybe every few starts you get vintage max as opposed to someone who's just never even done it before. But I don't know. I guess you could find a lot of guys who can give you fucking an ERA of 4.5 and only pitch 5 innings a game and not pay him $40 million a year. But
I gotta hear old man Gelling's thoughts on this one right here. He's a pitcher, and to see a guy just giving back the lead and not giving you innings, Kyle, unleash it, Kyle, release the dragon.
He need a shutdown inning like regularly, and then when he comes in and he walks with the bases loaded too to tie it up again, I'm like, just get him the fuck out. It's already a wash. We've already gotten far enough into where we don't need to blow the bullpen.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm not ready to say that he's Arrieta after the drop off because there is still like flashes and like Arrieta wasn't a Hall of Famer and Max is type of deal. So I think that when push comes to shove, I still think that he could like dig deep enough to be like, I'm going to throw my arm out of the socket.
Yeah,
it's a playoff game type of thing. But I don't know. It's just like I think if we had more options, the fans would already be like, this was a failed experiment. Move on. But there's literally nobody else we're talking about Cookie Carrasco pitching tonight, and we're hoping that a guy with a broken rib can replace him. So it's like,
bro, it is
scary. You just have to hope he turns it around eventually.
It is scary how little options there are. Like, I get that when you're in the cycle of rebuilding versus win now and all that shit that like you won't necessarily have the deepest farm, but when it's like Peterson, McGill, Carrasco, these guys,
there's no one to plug the hole, so you just have to hope that they do it on their own.
Yeah, and maybe if they do make a run and they're within striking distance, maybe Max will like gas it up and throw out his arm. Like maybe he's like been trying to pace himself and he won't have to, but I don't know. I think, eventually you just start to show your age a little bit. And I really do think it's a product of being a head case, like that fired up, emotional, rah shit does not help you in baseball. It's a detriment. It's not football where you can just gear up and get adrenaline and push through. Like you need to be precise. You need to be thinking. You need to be level-headed, and I don't think that's what he's gotten through in his years. I think he gets through it. Fuck you, you motherfucker! I'm just gonna strike you out. Well, no, you're not anymore. Now
he could strut around the mound, every other season, and he can't this one. He's got on it, and it's like the tank's on empty.
It's like one thing feeds the other, and when you can't do any of it, it just ruins your career.
This is all I can't believe I'm saying this because considering we wanted to do like a will Verlander or Scherzer win the Cy Young prop bet on Barstool Sportsbook. This is all I ask for Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander now. Just don't make Dominic Leone come in the game. Save him for the goddamn cookie start and like whatever, like if it's a bad Sega start or whoever else. But like you two guys, you do not have Dominic Leone come in like the 5th inning to bail. I just can't do that anymore. Like, that's all I'm asking. It's not a lot, but I just need that. Daily Dominic Leone needs a couple fucking days off. I need days off.
For our sake, for Dominic's sake, for Dominic's family, like for everybody. I don't think that, everybody who's made it to the big leagues is a competitive freak who's probably like, give me the ball, Skip. Give me the ball. I think Dominic Leone's like, no. Like, I can see Buck calling for him, and he's like, no, I'm not coming in.
He's dead, Buck. You killed him last night. Like, we need like they have like the things. It's like how likely a forest fire is, green to red. It's like, what are the chances Dominic Leone comes in tonight? And it's like, tonight's red. Like, Dominic Leone's already warming up in Arizona right now. He's like, Cookie, I'm gonna need hey Dominic, I'm gonna get maybe 1 2/3 out of Cookie now. You think you come in and get that last out before we get into the 3rd inning? Like, it's gonna fucking happen. But just don't, like Max and Justin Verlander, just don't put Dominic Leone on my screen for 2 fucking nights.
It's really not that much to ask. I feel like Mets fans have gotten, the last couple of years, got so cocky or so entitled where they're expecting to win a division, expecting to win a World Series. We have since adjusted our desires down to just don't let me see Dominic Leone, and I don't think that's too much to ask.
Well, I'll tell you who we are going to be seeing for a while. Jeff Brigham, who got banished to Syracuse.
Oh, that was the best. Phil says he went. What was his exact?
New York to Arizona.
New York to Arizona, then back to Syracuse.
That sucks, dude.
And tell me that shouldn't be the thing. At the end of each month, Buck gets a list of everyone's like ERA, WHIP, XFIP, and all the fucking like crazy stats, and is like, whoever's worst, I'm going to send you across the country, and then you're going all the way back to Syracuse. And then you're in Syracuse for like God knows how long. That should put the fear of God more into you, other than like your career, the money you're going to make, letting your teammates down. Nope, you're going to have to basically fly round trip for no fucking reason and then have to go pitch in AAA, which, I mean, again, based on the numbers we're seeing out of Syracuse, is like the new bandbox, the new fucking Coors Field. Luke Voigt, they fucking ripped his sleeves off and he's hitting fucking moonshots now. It's like a fucking circus up there. What are they doing in Syracuse? Jim Boeheim retires and it's just a lawless baseball town.
I wish we could use a little of that. I wish we had a little bit of that in the big leagues.
Yeah, like you said, Kev, like either we sacrifice these guys on the mound or we sacrifice them in an airplane. And like, yeah, coach, middle seat, coach, back of the plane. You're flying out to fucking Cali. You're flying back to Syracuse. And like, did you see this thing the other day? They're saying that turbulence is actually getting worse now because of global warming. If they had pitched that back in the 2000s and 90s, being like, if you guys don't start recycling, turbulence is going to get worse, all of us motherfuckers would have been on the straight and narrow. I would have never used styrofoam again the rest of my life if I had heard that.
Hey, Clem, speaking of, did you know that we fixed the ozone? Remember growing up, like the ozone hole?
Yeah.
Like it was the biggest thing in the world? We did it. We did it. We fucking did it. I don't know if it was that we stopped using aerosol cans or what, but the hole is like 80% closed or something like that and basically no longer a problem. And I don't even think these kids know that there used to be a hole in the earth and the sun was just like ruining us. And all we ever heard about was the hole in the ozone layer, the greenhouse effect. We're all going to die. And we did it. So I feel like we get a lot of shit for, how we treat the environment. They asked us to help. We did it. What's the fucking problem?
The rainforests are still here. The ozone's healed. Like, we're fucking good, man. I don't know what they're talking about. Jesus Christ. Get it, man. Yeah, Phil probably has no idea what we're talking about. Right?
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I remember hearing about the ozone layer in 2nd grade. So
if we could just, all they need to do now is just say, stop having fucking gender reveals in the middle of the fucking forest and stop having forest fires, and we'd be good.
Is that what caused this whole Canada bullshit?
Oh, always. It's always some dickhead who like fires off fireworks and then the whole North America burns down because you had to find out you were having a baby girl.
Oh boy.
Well, air quality must be better because the Mets haven't lost many games and no one's burning anything.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you. I mean, when did we? It didn't quite take off, right?
We lost the first 2 after that. But...
Right, but it was that Giants series, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
So we split
on like the 29th or the 30th. So it was like. The next
it was the month of June. We ended it. We probably ended it with the moon cycle. It was probably more pinned to the moon than it was the baseball schedule. But I don't know. I burned that MAGA Mets hat. We got rid of Funkos. We got rid of DVDs. I'm actually in the office. Maybe I should grab that jersey and burn it for Frank. maybe that could put us over the edge. And I don't know. That seems to turn things around a little bit. So it's all been pretty good since we burned everything. I appreciate all the other fans who are burning like Syndergaard jerseys and shit, but like we need stuff from this season. It's about getting rid of this season, the bad first half. Noah Syndergaard's not helping anything, guys.
Noah Syndergaard might actually be doing like that. Might have been Syndergaard who sent us that because he's tried everything else. He's hypnotizing. He's like willing to sacrifice his first fucking born.
That is one of the saddest quotes in baseball in sports history. I'd give up my firstborn to be good again. Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
That was tough. And you know what? It took JC like 3 days to rise from the tomb.
Yeah,
right? Miracles just don't happen.
Like, start working.
We're good. We're good on it. So once we bring up Jesus Christ and we're talking about ozone layers, you know that the fucking show is in a good place right now. So just like JC said back in the day, gotta believe.
Gotta believe. That was a good one.